and so clouds quite warm and humid this afternoon with a thunderstorm in the area, high 89. Patchy clouds tonight, though 72. Tomorrow, clouds and sun quite warm and humid with a thunderstorm or two in the afternoon and evening, high 89. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 82 degrees at 12:03. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Serving the Metro East region with excellence, Anderson Hospital is proud to be named one of Newsweek's World's Best Hospitals for 2025. Experience world-class care close to home. AndersonHospital.org.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. And by Anderson Hospital, a Newsweek World's Best Hospital. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Any game that you lose 11-0 is horrible. It just makes it that much worse when you lose to the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. What a terrible game yesterday by the St. Louis Cardinals. One of the worst performances I can ever remember. And it's just one of 162, but it feels a lot heavier than that as we hit hard today on the Gashouse Gang with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman. I'm still, after last night, I thought the 12-hour rule, I'd just be, back to my old self. I'm still upset about that.
You know what? I don't know. It was at some point during this show last week when we were discussing what we'd be okay with going into Wrigley Field. And it was basically just don't get swept. It's not ideal to win one of the three games. And I was sort of on board with that. I thought, okay, if they just don't get swept, because getting swept would be disastrous. You don't really want that. Losing 2 of 3 is not good, but still it could be worse. But I think the way they lost on Friday and then again yesterday, there's nothing about that feels good. We have been talking so much about how they're at least in it every game. But the last couple of weeks, Tom, they have now been shut out 6 times. They have given up way too many runs in a lot of these games when they weren't getting blown out early in the year. They were in most games, even if they lost. But this is like a recent 2-week development where sometimes they just have no chance. And they look like a team that doesn't have a chance. And that's not what we were experiencing in April and May. So I would say this is more of a newer development, though you could argue that there have been signs of this along the way, that some nights their bats would be really cold, even though they'd come back out the next game, then they'd score 9 runs. So it was sort of fudging the numbers a little bit, the averages. But this is bad, man. This is not what I expected, not with the way they started this season. I think the fact they have gotten here in the last couple of weeks, it's beyond concerning at this point. I guess if you're looking for a silver lining, they are still in the wild card race, and they're just a game back from that. So does that mean they will be in a month? I don't know, but at least there's something right now.
It's just embarrassing, and it's of all this talk about the fight that they have, and they're a bunch of fighters, and they needed a little rest to get to Chicago, and they put up that great fight actually on Saturday. Yeah. To follow that up with that flop.
Yeah.
Not to mention Friday batting practice at Wrigley with 5,000 home runs being hit and guys, raising the roof, wearing Cubs uniforms, running around the bases. That's not embarrassing enough to get thumped on national television. I mean, it's rough. And, it seemed so preventable and predictable at the same time with Miles Mikolas and Eric Fetty, the way they had been pitching. I said it on this show last week, did I not? I wish Sonny Gray was pitching at Wrigley. Why can't they get Sonny? Why isn't Sonny Gray pitching at Wrigley? I wish they could. And, the things line up the way they line up, and you have your bullpen and your rotation and everything. Everybody knows the health of everybody else. But at some point, don't you have some importance on that series in particular? All the games are important, I get it, but it's Wrigley Field. It's the weekend. You got a chance to make a little dent to win the June series. You had a 7-game series basically against the Cubs. 4 games here, 3 games there. You had a chance to pick up a little ground on them, send a little message. And it actually happened before all of this. if you really look at all this, the Pittsburgh series is actually worse. Getting shut out in all 3 games
bad.
is worse,
Yeah.
but it's the Pirates on the road. It's not the Cubs, which makes your blood boil. And before that, they got blanked twice by the Cubs.
Yeah.
So it goes all the way back that the Cubs were the ones who got up off the canvas and flexed and said, we're not going to stand for this. Yeah, Pico Armstrong, our big superstar, made a bonehead mistake out in center field. He forgot how many outs there were. Guess what? That's the last run you're going to score in this series. That's exactly what they did. And then the Cardinals went to Cleveland, and they beat the Guardians. Was it fool's gold because the Guardians stink? Well, the Cubs exposed them a little bit, that they continued to stink. But the Guardians get swept, and the Cardinals look dominant in doing it. And then typical of this season, which is why I said in the beginning of the year, I'm not going to get swept up in all this. Are the Cardinals a contender or not? Because they're just a team in development. I'm just going to enjoy the ride. I got swept up in it again because they sweep the Guardians, and here they go. They're going to go to Wrigley. But first, you got to play the Pirates, and then they get blanked, and then this happens. I want to get to the rotation changes that need to be made and all of that stuff. But this is more than Michaelis and Fetty, which was bad enough. This is an offense that can't push runs across. This is, obviously health issues here and there. You got Arenado out and all that, but they have enough pieces to be competitive. And what the heck happened to this team is, I kind of wish Ollie was on the show today, and I don't know that he would have loved it, or maybe he would have. But this would have been a great day for it to time out. Ollie joins us on Tuesdays for Ollie to come on because I think that he's frustrated and upset too. But he's the man in charge, and it falls on his shoulders and his staff and the front office and ownership and players, and everybody is to blame for this. This can't happen again. And maybe it's too late. I don't know. I mean, we're sitting here on July 7th. There's a whole lot of season left. I'm not ready to throw in the towel, but exactly what you just said, they just don't look like a team that belongs.
I'm not giving up on the wild card. That's still in play, and it's probably going to be in play for a while. But that division, I don't forget it. If you look at Fangraphs, their playoff odds of winning the division less than 5%. The Cubs jumped up to 95%. But I think what we're looking at is, this is just a 10,000-foot view. Cubs are just a better team. They're better. They were better before the season started. We knew they were going to be a better team. I thought it was going to be them and maybe the Cardinals right there behind them. Who knows? If everything goes right, they could really make a run at this thing. I sort of discounted Milwaukee from the beginning of the season, which is probably a mistake. But the odds of them making it to the playoffs are decreasing by the day. However, there is still a wild card in play, and that's probably going to have to be the path if they're going to do it. And maybe I'm, just trying to talk myself into something that's not there, but I still do think they have an opportunity, a real legitimate one, to get in as a wild card team. And I'm not going to let go of that just yet. But if they have more series like the ones they just did, this series, and then the series against the Pirates, well, you're not going anywhere. You're gonna be sitting this one out again. But nothing has really changed for me, big picture, about the division. I've always said the Cubs are the best team in the division. I didn't think they were far and away the best team, but now it kind of looks like they might be. Maybe they are. Maybe they're just that much better than everybody else.
No, they do have a good team. I mean, Matthew Boyd is a really good pitcher. We saw yesterday why he's an all-star. While the Cardinals were doing what they did, and Eric Fetty got pulled in the second inning, Boyd was just mowing them down, one after the other, and looking like an all-star, comfortable as can be. They're swooning in the broadcast booth, comparing him to, John Tudor of 1985, further angering Cardinals fans probably, but you had to admire the pitching. I mean, he looked really good. And that brings us, let's just get right to it. I mean, the Cardinals can't continue with this rotation. I mean, they just can't do it. I mean, I don't want to hear about, maybe this is the right move. No, it's 100% the right move to go to Michael McGreevy like yesterday.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt.
I mean, it's just so maddening to watch, but the reality is they don't have a lot of depth or options. Like, the only option right now is Michael McGreevy, but you still have the issue of Miles Michaelis throwing straight balls too. So if Fetty's next turn is coming or Michaelis's next turn is coming, McGreevy's got to get it. He's eligible to rejoin them on July 10th, which would be on Thursday. So that's against the Nationals, who, by the way, fired their manager and their GM yesterday.
Yeah.
They're a complete mess, too. There are a lot of teams that are a mess right now, including the Braves, who come in. It's an opportunity to get some wins and get yourself back on track, but it has to be with McGreevy. The Cardinals can't continue on without fixing their rotation. The rotation has to be the foundation of the team. They don't have a good enough team to account for that. They cannot sit there and pile up runs in bunches. They don't have the firepower to accommodate for that. And by the way, there aren't a lot of teams who can go on if 40% of their starting rotation is throwing BP. It just can't happen. So what do? I'm going McGreevy for one of the spots, and I got to think about what I'm doing with the other. If I'm taking Steven, I'd prefer it. I don't know if the Cardinals and Matz want to do it, but I'm taking Matz out of the bullpen. I'm putting him into the rotation, even if I can only get 5 innings out of him. I'm doing it.
Well, you're not going to get 5 innings right away.
No,
it'll take a little
him.
time. Yeah. They'll have to stretch him. So my guess is we're going to know something. We might know something by tomorrow, but Michaelis starts Thursday, scheduled to, and then Fetty on Saturday. I would think we would have to know by Wednesday what they're going to do. Don't you think? I mean, unless they aren't going to make a decision on Michaelis, he stays. McGreevy goes. McGreevy takes that spot. Fetty's spot pitches Saturday. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's probably going to happen for sure. I guess the Michaelis thing is still up in the air, wouldn't you think? Or do you think they've already made a determination on him too?
I don't know. Actually, I think it's
that's
worth,
the thing,
it's worth the discussion. They've had a little more time to think about Michaelis because his blow-up was on Friday. There are a lot of questions coming in and comments and all that good stuff. Amy wanted to know why was he in so long on Friday? It's the only good thing he did was go 6 innings and
well, anybody can go 6. Keep
at least allow the bullpen to have a fighting chance on Sunday because they needed it because Fetty was going to get pulled immediately. They needed to have a full bullpen on Sunday if they could. Boy, and Saturday's win was so good. I mean, Joel Pozo with the home run and the Cardinals getting the job done and Matt striking out Pete Crow Armstrong in a key moment and all the things that they did on Saturday goes down the toilet because of what happened on Sunday at Wrigley Field. That's a tough one. Now, I will gather myself and give you the usual Tom Ackerman, measured approach.
Well, here we go.
Is that the Cardinals still have a chance to save this thing, but they have to be able to string together great at-bats. They have to refocus, and they have to be hearing all of this, and we'll see what they're made of. I hope that, and they do. I know they have some great personalities down in there, and I hope that they hear the negativity coming back towards them. Maybe they got applauded too much. Maybe they were told, they're a really good team. They're a contender. They're fighters. Maybe they need to have the edge back to say it's us against the world again, and we're going to go put together another run like we did in May.
I guess
that's the only thing left.
Yeah, here's the only thing, though. I think, especially when it comes to baseball, there's only so much that edge will bring you. Like it's great. We have an edge. Great. You got to have good players, though. You got to have enough good players on your roster, top to bottom. Yeah, you can have this, feeling like everybody's against you, us against the world kind of thing. Nobody believed in us. That will take you so far. But you have to have a good team, and it might just be they don't have a good enough team. And this message from Nick, who's watching on YouTube, who says, I am sorry, but what is the point in making a wild card push? You have one reliable pitcher to count on in the playoffs. Libby is unproven deep in the year. You can't count on Michaelis, Fetty, or Andre. So that's right, but I think I'm not suggesting that they do anything to overextend themselves to win a wild card spot. In fact, I think it's more likely that if they make a playoff run here, it's with what they have in-house, that they don't really make any moves before the deadline. And I kind of don't want them to. I wouldn't sell, for the future to get somebody on the team that helps them this year. I don't think this team is worth doing that, but it is worth writing it as it is to see what happens, especially since you are only a game out of a wild card spot. You see the difference? I mean, it's not that I think they should, do anything crazy here. I think it's just that this team still has an opportunity. Let's see what happens. And let's see what happens with McGreevy in the rotation instead. I would rather them fail with a young pitcher in the rotation, gaining experience and them learning more about him to make a decision for the future. And then hopefully it all works out in the meantime and they do make a playoff run. That's what I want to see them do. But I don't want them to go out and make any deals and, mortgage whatever future they do have, which I don't think they have a ton of resources to do it. But there's probably a little something they could trade. That's not this team. This is not one of those, hey, man, we're close and all we need is a piece and everybody down in that clubhouse is just waiting for them to make some kind of trade to help them along. This ain't one of those teams.
No.
So just whatever happens with what they have, I still think they can make a run here.
We're going to take all of your questions. I mean, not all of them, but as many as we can. I see them coming in on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook. And we're also going to talk to the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney. Perhaps this team just overachieved, and now they're back to who they are.
Maybe.
But we'll answer it. We'll get into it. We're going to have the Gashouse Gang all week. We have the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney. He'll bring us back. That's going to happen after the 12:30 weather. But coming up next, we're going to take your questions. I see him. Back in a moment.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler for 213 Complex, which is available at supplement superstores. Look, 213 Complex is the most effective and powerful all-natural weight loss supplement ever developed, and here's why. It optimizes thyroid function, and it boosts your metabolism 24 hours a day, while you're sleeping too. So you're burning more stored body fat. Also getting that appetite and craving control that I love. You get all-day focused energy with no jitters, so all you need to do is get out to supplement superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off 213 Complex. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Dive into adventure this summer at the St. Louis Aquarium's Summer of the Shark. Get face to fin with some of the ocean's most awe-inspiring creatures in shark-themed exhibits, jaw-dropping displays, and interactive experiences for the whole family. Whether you're a fin-tastic fan or just curious, there's hands-on fun and fascinating facts around every corner at the St. Louis Aquarium. Don't miss your chance to make a splash. Plan your visit today at stlouisunionstation.com. That's stlouisunionstation.com.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for Your Retirement Highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
At 5, when others are running out of steam, the Redbird Rush Hour hits the gas. Kevin Wheeler, Matt Pauley, and Bernie Miklasz bring sharp analysis, fresh insight, and no recycled takes. Real baseball talk for fans who know the game. Redbird Rush Hour, weekdays at 5 on 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, the unrivaled voice of baseball. 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, stronger than ever.
I remember when we first called him up, the first thing they told me was he's not going to do this one thing that's going to wow you, but when you play him enough, two things are going to happen. You're going to fall in love with him, and you're never want to take him out of the lineup. And that is absolutely true. From day one, just the overall, I think one of the best ways you can be described in this game is consistent, and that's exactly what you've done from day one, not only on the field and the way you prepare, but just your personality and the way you carry yourself and the value that you bring between the lines, but also in this clubhouse. So congratulations on being an all-star, man.
Brendan Donovan is an all-star. He'll appear for the Cardinals and the National League in Atlanta coming up next Tuesday with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman. The Gashouse Gang is sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and by Anderson Hospital. I'm really happy for Donnie. I can remember back when John Mozeliak was the one who told me, he said, when you go on the backfields, and this was several years ago, and you're looking for up-and-comers, keep your eye on Brendan Donovan. And he gave me the heads up. He'll be the next one. And the first time I saw Donnie out there, I'm like, wow, this guy's a big dude and an athlete and tough and looks like a player. And, you know, he just developed into, I felt like a rookie to a veteran in like 2 seconds. Like he was just immediately a guy who seemed like he had been around forever. That's Brendan Donovan.
And, you know, if there was going to be somebody from this roster to make the all-star team, I think that's the right choice. Who else would it be?
Sonny.
Maybe, yeah.
I think
Sonny Gray, but
Sonny.
But yeah, he's the position player and he deserves it. So I guess we'll get to watch him.
You can make a case for Phil Maton. Anyway, let's go through some of these before we get to John Rooney. We'll have a nice conversation with John. Cardinals got thumped, and I get all of that. You know, all the people upset. I'm probably at the top of the list. I'm done. I vented. Now I feel so much better. If the runway for young players is the plan, then why is McGreevy not starting every 5 days? Well, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier in the season. I got not reprimanded for that, but, you know, basically like, you know, isn't that the point of the season to see what he has? But he showed what he can do. I think Mozeliak said it on my show yesterday when I brought him up and I said, I'm not sure what more you can do except you have McGreevy. And he goes, yes. And he said, McGreevy's lurking.
Lurking. I was trying to think of the word he used.
And he said,
that was it.
McGreevy's lurking, and he said, we can't keep him down forever. And then Molly Marmol last night after the game told reporters, and we had a microphone in there thanks to Mike Claiborne, that the road we're going down, or the path we're going down right now is not beneficial. So basically, in so many words, saying we got to think of another way to do this rotation. So it sounds to me like that's probably what they're going to do. That question was from Chris, who had a few of them, but I want to get to everybody else. Roster makeup has been bad. He says, Fetty and Michaelis need to go, says STL Girl 74. Can preparation offensively and pitching start to be at least questioned? Sure. You know, I think they'll push back on that because they prepare, coaches and managers prepare players to execute. And if players don't execute, is it their fault that it didn't work? Or at some point, do you get on the player for doing what they are paid to do?
This is where we make too much of baseball managers argument comes in, because I think we try to overcomplicate what is probably a simple answer. And the simple answer might just be that maybe these guys aren't good enough. Maybe the roster just isn't good enough. Most baseball teams that go to the playoffs and make runs in the playoffs, what are they? Stacked with talent. I think that's maybe not overcomplicate this issue, and it could just be that simple.
Verlis says Matt showed some fire after giving up that home run in Chicago. Absolutely right. I loved that too. I loved that. That's what I'm talking about earlier. I want to see more of that. I think that is important. Can someone explain why Ollie started Hampson instead of Gorman? You could 100% make the case for Gorman in any game at this point. Hampson, because he was a righty, that's the only reason they did that, plus his versatility.
Might need him to pitch.
What if you went with somebody, I forget where it was, somebody suggested to me, or I saw it somewhere, why don't you go with Fetty and Michaelis together in the same game?
Oh, why not?
Then you don't get hurt twice.
There you go.
You go Fetty, and if he's not cutting it, you bring Michaelis in, or vice versa. Anyway, then we'll get to all of them. I can't get to all of these because Matt Pajeski, our producer, says we have to take a break, and he's 100% right. He's always on the money.
It's about time.
With Chris Ranji, I'm Tom Ackerman. John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, is up next on KMOX.
Named one of Newsweek's world's best hospitals for 2025, Anderson Hospital is your hospital for life, delivering exceptional, compassionate care to families across the Metro East. From emergency services to specialized treatments, our dedicated team supports your health at every stage. Experience world-class care close to home. Discover the difference at andersonhospital.org.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Michael's Baths. Your bathroom might be small, but fixing it can feel huge. Cracked tiles, outdated fixtures, and that tub that's seen better days. Well, at Michael's Baths, we're going to get you the bathroom of your dreams at a price that you can afford. Mike usually comes in 30 to 50% less than the national companies. He is local. He is family-owned and operated. He's done this for 30 years, and he is a great guy. 636-775-0800. 636-775-0800 or michaelsbaths.com.
It is 87 degrees and partly sunny in St. Louis. Feels like 93. The high today will be 88.
Weather sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Cardinal Cowboy here. For over 65 years, Renner Garage Door has delivered top-notch service, sales, and installation. Get your free estimate today. RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER. At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gashouse Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Now the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX. Sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
The pitch, the runner goes from first. There's a long one. Left field. It's a goner out of Wrigley Field. Joel Pozo with a pinch 3-home run. Unbelievable.
What a great moment that was with Chris Ranji. I'm Tom Ackerman, the Gashouse Gang. That's the voice of John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals. He joins us now. John, thank you as always for joining us, especially on this day off. We appreciate you.
Tom, I couldn't hear you because of the music.
Oh, that's all right. Just wanted to say thank you for taking the time, especially on a day off like this, and we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you. I don't want to keep you long. You know, what more can you say except the fact that the Cardinals got embarrassed yesterday? Great game on Saturday. And, of course, Friday we saw what we saw with all the home runs. But if you could, what happened yesterday in your estimation? Or just summarize, if you would, what you witnessed at Wrigley Field over the last 3 days.
Well, Fetty has really struggled. He struggled since he shut out his old team, the Nationals, back in early May. His last 10 starts, the Cardinals are 2-8 in those, and he doesn't have a win. He's got an ERA just under 6 in those games. And the The sinker isn't sinking much. The cutter isn't cutting much. He's using a lot of sweepers and change-ups and getting a lot of the plate. And that happened to Miles Michaelis on Friday with all the home runs. And you're only as good as that day's starting pitcher. That's the way I've seen baseball for many, many years. Jim Fregosi pointed that out to me when I was doing the Louisville Redbirds. And, you think about it, you get a good start, keep your team in the game, and there's only so much come from behind work an offense can do. We've seen it the last 2 Saturdays in Cleveland and in Chicago, the way the offense was able to barrel back against some pitchers that throw almost 100 miles an hour, and they were able to win that Saturday game. But getting behind and having to face a good pitcher like Matthew Boyd, who's having a career year, made the All-Star team, that was too much to overcome yesterday. But getting behind like that, the Cardinals have a decision to make now on what they're going to do with their rotation.
Yeah, this is a team, John, that we had talked about a lot that was either always in the game or able to come back, a lot of comeback victories in the first, 3 months of the season. And now the last couple of weeks been a little different. They've had some blowout losses. Certainly there's not a simple answer to why it's happening, but as you see
I think a lot of it is, Chris. I mean, look at the games they played. They've had 15 games in 14 days and a day off, then 3 more games, and they're really looking forward to having today off, and then coming back going to the All-Star break. Now, there are teams that have to deal with stretches like that in the schedule, but 6 doubleheaders that we've had over the first portion of the season, and that takes it out of you, too, especially when you're trying to straighten out some pitching problems. So, believe you me, that has something to do with it. And to play a Sunday night game at the end of a 10-day, 9-game road trip, that doesn't help much either. And on top of that, another rain delay. And, yes, both teams have to deal with it, but that doesn't make it any easier when a team is struggling to score runs. But I think they'll be rejuvenated and come back. They go up against a Washington team that has a new general manager, and we'll have a new manager before the series opens, and then against an Atlanta Braves team that has been struggling all year. But check out the schedule. That's a lot of wear and tear on a team that has had to endure some injuries.
And some good news that came out of the weekend, John, is that Brendan Donovan is an all-star. There isn't a better guy in that clubhouse, and he is one heck of a ball player, a throwback, I would say.
Well, we've known that, Tom, that he's definitely an all-star caliber player, and now he's being honored as such. And he'll be representing the Cardinals down in Atlanta at the All-Star game, and a terrific representative. But I thought it was interesting. Ricky did some work on the divisions and the records and one thing and another. The National League Central is one of the toughest divisions in baseball, yet they only have like 7 players going to the All-Star game, where the West is not all that strong, and that's brought down a lot by Colorado. But the Dodgers have that team loaded, so it'll be the American League against the Dodgers, and then Brendan Donovan coming off the bench.
Yeah, and I would say that he's probably the most deserving Cardinal to make it in. Anybody else you think could have, if it were possible?
Sonny Gray. I think Sonny pitched well enough, and he kept his team in the game. That game he pitched in Cleveland was one of the best games I've ever seen for a game that wasn't a no-hitter, but it was just one over the minimum, and the one hit is when he shook off Pedro Pajes. And then it was, I think, Nolan Jones who got the hit to right field. That was terrific. And he's had games like that through the first half of the season. And he could have 9 or 10 wins if he got a little more run support.
Sonny Gray is set to start on Wednesday against the Washington Nationals. Tomorrow's game, Andre Palante gets the ball. Cardinals and Nationals tomorrow night at Busch Stadium. It'll be good to be back home. A 6:45 start. John Rooney, always appreciated. Thanks for jumping in today on the Gashouse Gang.
You bet, Tom, Chris. And, yes, it is great to be back home and play some games leading up to the break.
All right. Appreciate you. There's John Rooney with us. In the Nationals and the Braves are the 2 teams coming in. The Braves, what a disappointing season they have had. In the Nationals, a team that's supposed to be in development, just to let go their president of baseball operations and manager, Mike Rizzo and Dave Martinez. Let's take a quick break, and let's spend the rest of the time answering your questions. They're coming in fast and furious. Chris and I will get to as many as possible. Our producers are Matt Pajeski and Frank Ladd. This is the Gashouse Gang. It's sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and by Anderson Hospital. We'll be right back.
We are are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're for Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
2 legendary bands, 1 epic night. Collective Soul and Live are bringing the rock to St. Louis. Catch their summer unity tour at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater July 17th with special guest Greenland James Rue. Don't miss your chance to hear such hits as Shine, December, I Alone, and All Over You. Collective Soul and Live. Tickets can be found at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Here's a few questions for you from California Psychics. Do your workdays seem to go on forever? Is your career progression as fast as downtown traffic? Or does your boss still not know your name?
Hey, you, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay? It's Carrie, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
It's time to read the career warning signs and talk to California Psychics. We're always on hand to give you the career guidance you need. You see, we only connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. So you could soon be telling your boss where to stick that report.
Where are you going, Terry? Terry!
Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and between now and the end of the summer, chances are that you or someone you know is in the market to buy or sell a home. And like me, you probably know a few realtors. Well, yeah, I know several as well, but when someone I know needs to sell their home, I always recommend Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I've been telling you about Gloria for years now, and here's why you should call, because no matter what the market does, Gloria Liu will guarantee upfront and in writing to sell your home at 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference.
St. Louis home sellers, if you're looking for certainty and the most money guaranteed for the sale of your home, call me, Gloria Liu. My name is My Promise, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Call me directly at 314-325-6888 or visit me online at GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Now, back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and by Anderson Hospital on 104.1 FM KMOX.
1242 on the Gashouse Gang with Chris Ranji, Tom Ackerman, Matt Pajeski, Frank Ladd, our producers. Thanks to John Rooney for joining us in just a little bit. Now it's your turn. The Cardinals got blown out last night, 11-0 at Wrigley Field. We're going to put it past us, but not after we answer some of your questions. And Cole Bassett's left foot coming out with a really good one right out of the gate. How do you see the Cardinals balancing short-term competitiveness with long-term planning under Heimblum's influence, especially given the trade deadline decisions ahead? It's a great question. It's a multi-layered question, so let me attempt to answer this, because the Cardinals, I'm not sure even the most optimistic Cardinals people felt that they would be in this division race like they were. I'm not saying that they are now. They're 6.5 out. They've got a lot of work to do. But for the moment, when they were 2.5 out, it was a interesting situation to be in, Chris, because you are planning for 2026. That's what this season is about. You're trying to see who's going to fit and who isn't, and Heimblum ultimately will make those major league decisions come November 1st when John Mozeliak's contract expires. Mo is going to assist him in that planning. Well, I should say the other way around. He is assisting Mo in that planning here. He's going to have some input. Mo ultimately makes and calls the shots and is the spokesperson, but it is a transition, so they will be working together and collaborating on that. It goes back to what you were saying. Even if they were, let's say, 2.5 out on July 31st, they're not going to make some thunderous move at the deadline. It ain't happening. They're not going to trade away pieces that they think are 2026 and beyond caliber. Maybe they trade away a prospect that they don't feel like is part of their mix, or a player that they feel like is part of their mix, but they're not going to go make some big splash to win it all in 2025.
Not unless something miraculously develops for them that could help them in the future. And maybe, well, here, I would not say that they should be married to any of their prospects to the point where they're all untouchable, because we have seen that burn teams time and time again. Now, it's also burned the Cardinals the other way, where they didn't think highly enough of a player and they traded him away, and then he goes somewhere else and does something good, right? So that has happened before, but I don't think that you should really leave anybody off the table if it helps your club in the future. Can't just be a 2025 deal. So that's number one. But secondly, as far as the way they approach the next couple of weeks here, I like the idea of just sort of sticking with what they have and seeing what happens, because this should no longer be, if you were even considering the possibility of them making some kind of acquisition at the deadline to help them in a playoff run. I don't think, and this is not to say that they are a bad team, because I don't think they are. I just don't think they're worth making a deal. Look, if they do with what they have in-house and they make a run here and it's good and they get into the playoffs and, I don't know, win a couple of games, win a division round or win a wild card series or whatever, awesome, great. That's more than I expected before the season started. That's how I think they should approach the rest of the year, while also working in some of these younger, inexperienced players to get them that experience. Because the rest of this season should now be more about that, and maybe they win some games along the way.
The other question and a follow-up to that, do you think the Cardinals front office fully understands how close the fan base is to emotionally checking out, or is there still trust in the direction this team is heading? Well, define emotionally checking out, because many did not renew their season tickets, so there's one. But there still is a ton of passion in that fan base, as evidenced by what we see on this show, what people write in and comment, the readership of our great beat writers, the videos that Bernie is cranking out, the coverage, the listenership on radio and the viewership on television. I mean, there is an audience there. There is a passion there. There are people that have not sat in the seats, and so that will be a reflection. People are going to question, where are the Cardinals fans? Emotionally checking out, to me, means apathy. That's the absolute worst thing that you could possibly get to. So does the front office fully understand that? I believe they do, and that is why they started this whole thing, to try to fix that. They transitioned to Heimblum. The problem is the messaging hasn't always been the best, and now they're starting to win and getting back into this competitive mode of being a contender. And if it doesn't end well, which based on what we saw over the weekend, things didn't look very promising, people are going to think that this was an underachieving team, when actually it's the opposite. I actually think they are in a position right now that I didn't fully expect them to be in. I didn't think they'd be creeping up on possibly being 10 games over 500, which they are not at the moment, but they were getting there.
Well, I would wonder this, how Cardinals fans how they would respond if this team, because look, the Cardinals have a history of just sort of kind of half doing it. Right? Like, we're rebuilding a little bit, we're retooling, but that's not a complete rebuild. We still have a lot of these veteran players, right? So we still have some of these veteran guys around. If they were to just say, you know what, Band-Aid's off, we're starting this process now, and we are tearing this thing down to the studs, which I still think is difficult to do because you can't make other teams trade for your players you don't want anymore, necessarily. That's a tough thing to do. But I wonder if they ever went down that path, if Cardinals fans would be more appreciative of that than we're sort of, we're redoing it, but we're not fully redoing it. You know what I mean? I don't know if they would be more tolerable of something like that. But I think they could be. I think if they feel like there's a vision, they got a new guy coming in who's taking over. He's very well respected in the game. Everybody knows who he is. We know that he's going to get the reins here soon. So they are just starting from scratch. I think that there would be a big number of Cardinals fans who would be more sympathetic to that.
I think, I'm not going to argue with you on this because you're right in that people in baseball know who Chaim Bloom is, but I don't think the Cardinals fan base knows Chaim Bloom at all.
You may be right about that.
I don't think they know him at all because the Cardinals haven't made him available except for the October press conference. So nobody knows. Some of us have talked to him off the record, and I really like him, and I think that he has a good track record. I was impressed about him as a person. I think his people skills are excellent, and I think people are really going to enjoy hearing him on the air. In fact, I believe he should be on the air right now sparingly. Doesn't have to be the spokesperson for the team, but at least, and maybe the fear is, Mo is still the head of this thing, so that Bloom, if he starts getting interviewed, people are going to ask him all the questions that Mo should be answering. That Bloom, his job right now is not to manage the 26-man roster. His job right now is to make sure that the minor league infrastructure is in place, and he is scouting and watching every little bit and piece of it. I'd say, a very high percentage of what he's doing is with the minor leagues, but he will be working with Mo, and eventually we will hear from Chaim Bloom, and I do think that people are going to like him, and I do believe that the future is bright, but it takes time. You can't the fan base isn't just going to go all in on that right away, but they will be back because they started departing because they didn't believe in the direction. They were fed up. They were tired of hearing the same things over and over. And you're about to get a new set of messaging, a new outlook on who they are, a renewal, if you will, of what the Cardinals were built on. The Cardinals, from going way back, they were the first ones to have the farm system. They kind of developed the whole idea. And that's what they're going to try to get back to now, and the fans eventually will catch back onto it. I try to tell you that if you go to the game, I think you'll appreciate the way that they play, and that's all well and good to fans, but fans want a winner. They want to win championships. They want to be entertained. They want stars. Those things are kind of missing right now, but it's still a great place to go see a game. It's a great play. It's a great sport. Nobody is denying that. But it's not all going to come back at once. You'll get fans back for some of the big games, the Dodgers, some other weekend series like that. But anyway, that's a long answer to the question.
People just want to know the direction is right. That's what they want more than anything else. It doesn't mean that they will continue to buy tickets. I think a lot of people would just say, hey, I do believe in the direction they're going, but I'll wait to spend my money until I know the team is good again.
I knew this one was coming. Timothy says, I know you're tired of hearing questions about Ollie, but how bad does the team have to get before doing what the Nationals did would make sense? It seems like most teams would do a shakeup of the manager and GM by now, especially since we're now 3 years into this malaise. Timothy, I appreciate the question, but they're not going to fire Ollie. John Mozeliak is in charge. That's his hire. Mozeliak is leaving, so there is a change. GM / president of baseball operations already happening. It's going to be. There's no reason to do anything more than what you've already done. Chaim Bloom is coming in. I just explained the need to have Bloom overseeing what's going on in the minor leagues right now, while Mozeliak he doesn't just make trades. Like, Mozeliak has to account for all baseball operations employees. Like, there are jobs at stake. There are a lot of people involved, and he's got his hands in a lot of things that they need him for. This isn't just signing free agents and making trades. It's not John Mozeliak's sole job. So that's my answer to that side of the question. And then I just don't think that this is Ollie's fault.
Well, okay, so here's my argument with him is I think we could go the other direction, honestly, and say this team probably overachieved for 3 months. And is it him? I don't know. But I think I didn't believe the roster was all that good going in. It wasn't. It was good enough to maybe win the division or play some meaningful games in September, or I guess now wild card is in play. But I thought that's kind of what their ceiling was. And he had them playing a lot better early in the year. And to be where they are at this point, I think you could even make the argument that they're not where they are right now without him. So I think this is all about roster. Is the roster good enough? Yes or no? And the Cardinals roster probably just isn't. And the fact that they've been competitive for so long, that might be a testament to the Cardinals manager.
And there will come a time when Chaim sits down with everybody at the end of the year, and the question will come, is Ollie Marmol the manager for the future for you? And he'll answer it, or he'll discuss what they're going through in evaluating Ollie, or his evaluation of Ollie, and then go from there. There will come a time. That is the answer to your question. Personally, I think Ollie Marmol is going to be a great manager in this game, and I think he's still the youngest manager in the game at 39 and has a future ahead of him. And yes, there are some times where you disagree with what he's done in game, but I can tell you I did that with Schilt, Matheny, La Russa. I mean, It doesn't matter. It's baseball. We all have a different opinion, but if you look at the body of work, it's still something in progress. My point is, no, I'm not firing him.
And JN says, who's watching on YouTube, he said it's not Ollie's fault completely, sure, but blameless is abdicating responsibility.
He's responsible.
Yeah, of course he's responsible. But I think if you're arguing that the Cardinals are 6.5 games out of first place because Ollie's screwing up, I don't see that. I just don't. I don't see it. I just think his roster isn't as good as it needs to be.
I'm going through all of these questions here. We talked a lot about the rotation as well. McGreevy is an obvious add. Once they officially announce that, I would think that that's going to be what they do there. Please don't use the schedule as an excuse. All teams deal with this. Not all teams had the amount of rain delays and doubleheaders as the Cardinals.
That's pretty unusual.
But for the most part, Chad's right. I mean, you can't. There are no excuses in this game. This is the big leagues. You know, it is what it is. Everybody deals with it. It's the highest level of baseball in the world. In other news, Jordan Walker is nicknamed J.J. Weatherholt the Truth. Okay, I like that. We'll see if that sticks.
It's probably a good sign.
Says
I hope it is.
One of our viewers. Tried to get as many of these as we could. We had a whole bunch that came in.
Tom was texting in from, not you, different Tom, texting in, driving back from Chicago. Hopefully he's in the passenger seat. And says it was a debacle and embarrassing, and he's disappointed. But, man, he made the trip up to Wrigley Field.
Good for you.
How about that? There are a lot of Cardinals fans up there this past weekend.
Listen, I'll say it. I'll say it again. You're upset because you love them. You love what they've meant to you and your life. It's the St. Louis Cardinals, for goodness sakes.
You have every right to be upset with this.
It's passion.
This nonsense.
Thanks for joining us.